Let's switch to the audience. So let's start with the questions. And if someone of the 75 participants has any other question, don't hesitate to write. So the first one by Hamad is it possible for gold to have an increase like the usual years before COVID for the future prospect?
So I think COVID was a kind of once in a generational event. It certainly was unprecedented to many levels. But what I would say is, while we did see about a 25% increase in the gold price during 2020, gold was actually rallying in 2019 as well. So I'd go back to the point that I made earlier, that actually, you know, over the long run, we see that gold does produce a return which can benefit investors. Now, what that might mean for gold going forward, obviously we can't say, but certainly I think, as I mentioned in my outlook response, was that I think there are levels of support or areas of support we can see for investment demand and consumer demand. But in terms of where the kind of the price performance might go, it's very difficult to say, and not something we generally comment on.
Okay, cool, thank you. And now we have a question from Romain. It's more on silver probably. Hello, do you know why every goods are up? Sugar, wheat, copper, probably woods. Everyone saw this meme on woods price that is going up and up, but silver are not reflecting the demand. So this is the first question. Then he had a second question in the first question regarding silver. So do you think that the shortage of electronic components could be due to the shortage of silver metals?
Well, that's a great question, and I can speak to the second part of that question. And it goes again back to the supply issue and the manufacturing issues. Look at the globe, the world was severely disrupted in 2020, and it affected almost every aspect of the silver market. And not only on the investment side, but especially on the industrial side, where there were shortages. It was difficult to ship, it was difficult to trade. We have a great chapter in our latest World Silver Survey on bullion flows, and the bullion flows were severely impacted in 2020. They're improving today, and we think by the end of the year they could be back at a 2019 level. So we think that the industrial end users who rely on certain quality grades of silver, as the year improves, will be able to have greater access to the silver for their particular application.
Okay, cool. And now we just receive by email a question. Probably someone was not able to write the question on the web. Does the paper market, the paper gold, I imagine, affect the price of physical gold?
So it's a one gold price. Well, what we see is, in the short term, investment markets and investment macroeconomic variables will tend to have an influence on the performance of gold. But over the longer term, what we tend to see is actually it's the impact in the kind of the interaction between demand and supply, as well as the investment side of the market, which kind of determines gold's overall performance. Now, what we've got on our website is an online tool which is called Quorum, which we built to help investors understand the various macroeconomic variables and scenarios which can influence demand and supply, and in turn how that impact on demand supply will impact or influence the performance of gold. And it's something that users can interact with. It's kind of based on our model, but users can input their different assumptions and expectations, and it will help generate a kind of implied gold return. So depending on your views of the world, you could see how that dynamic plays through from macroeconomic variables through the demand and supply, and then into gold's performance.
Very cool. But after the webinar, we will send an email with all the links to all the participants, because I think both you have a very, very good website with a lot of useful content for someone who is interested in precious metal. Now we have a question regarding the silver. Probably is always more or less the same question, but why bank always manipulate the price of silver, putting the price down? So I think there is a lot of people that believe that there is a lot of manipulation on the price of silver, and that the price of silver should be higher than the one is at the moment.
Well, look, we hear from folks who are passionate about that belief on a daily basis. We get emails and phone calls and so forth. And one of the things that we've done over the course of the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years is we've made ourselves and the market players available to regulatory bodies, and in the United States, the CFTC. So we do chat with them. And if we see anything that's out of the ordinary, we will contact them. They ask us how the markets are flowing, basically on a quarterly basis. But quite frankly, I think that the government regulators need to pay more serious attention to the concerns of many investors in the market who are making this case. We sort of remain agnostic on this as a marketer for the metal of silver, but we hear those concerns daily. I express those concerns to the CFTC here in the United States, and we will continue to do so. What we want to ensure is that every voice is heard and these allegations are addressed in a formal governmental process.
Okay, cool. And now we have a question that is more a financial question, so I don't think that neither Christian or Michael can answer. Shall we buy the dip after the crisis occurs, or buy now regardless? So probably no one can answer this question, because if we have a crystal ball, we will be all rich. But I think that precious metal, as said before by Michael and Christian, must be a part of a well-diversified portfolio. So it's not when to buy silver and gold, but if yes or not to have precious metal in a well-diversified portfolio. No.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we would. Oh, sorry, Michael, after you.
No, go ahead, Christian.
Thank you. I was just going to make the point that we advocate a strategic allocation to gold. So almost exactly as you said, we advocate holding gold as part of a portfolio. Now, what allocation that might be depends on the particular investor, but certainly we feel that it should be a strategic holding, because for the benefits that I've already mentioned, there is a kind of research analysis that we've provided on our website, Gold Hub, that shows that there is a kind of a meaningful benefit to holding a gold as part of a well-diversified portfolio.
Yeah, and that's good, Christian. I've been to your site. That is a very informative piece of work under the Gold Hub banner through the WGC. We have a section on investment on the Silver Institute's website at silverinstitute.org, and we outline the various investment opportunities for somebody. We personally do not give out investment advice, but we strongly feel, like Christian and his colleagues at the World Gold Council, that some part of your portfolio should be allocated to silver. And we make that argument on our website, and we also provide opportunities to contact certain dealers and certain investment providers directly from our website in order to take that first step.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And probably we will take the last question, because I have my colleague here that say you have to end the webinar. We're running out of time, but we have a lot of questions. Very happy that the audience appreciate the format. And again, I say to the audience that they can check both websites, so the World Gold Council and the Silver Institute platform, that is full of valuable content. So just pick one last question. How do short position from big players compare to the yearly production of silver? How the short position from big players compare the yearly production of silver?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you rephrase it?
How do short position from big players? So I think that the person means that how the short position from big players, like big banks probably shorting silver.
Yeah. You know, I've already answered that question with respect to regulation and regulators. It's something that, like, again, we hear from every day. If you go to our
Imagine.
Twitter page, I mean, we're lit up on these questions. These are legitimate concerns, okay, that need to be addressed across all global markets. I mean, regulators really need to start addressing these questions, which are occurring more and more frequently. And the accusations about certain banks shorting their position, banks holding more silver than they actually report, banks crushing the silver price when they go to work in the morning, all the advantages that were made in Asia and Europe, and then certain banks check in the morning and on the East Coast and drive the price down. I can't answer those questions, but regulators certainly can. So I would encourage anybody who has these concerns to contact the CFTC in the United States and other regulators overseas, because quite frankly, that's their job to investigate. Now, from the CFTC standpoint, these allegations have been going on for quite some time. And they've written at least 2 letters that I'm aware of that addresses the points that have been made. But quite frankly, the issue still exists and investors are still concerned. So on behalf of them, we encourage the regulators to start really answering these questions immediately.
Cool, perfect. Again, we still have a lot of questions, but the time is running fast. We're fast running out of time. So again, thank you very much, Michael and Christian, for your valuable content. I hope the audience were able to learn a lot of insight into the industry. And again, we will send to all the attendees the details of some PDF to analyze more of some research you do from your side, guys. So thank you again for taking the time to participate, and I hope we can talk again soon regarding the outlook, maybe in 2022.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Alessandro.
Bye, everyone, and thank you all the attendees to participate to this webinar. Bye, everyone.